this. This video is not intended to instruct. Its purpose is entertainment. It has no warranty, either written or implied, and none shall be inferred. But it reminds me of a story. There were these two fraternity brothers going to a fraternity sorority mixer. And one guy was a math major, pure science guy, and the other guy was an engineer. And there was a cute little redhead on the other side, and one of them said to the other, "Hey, I think I'm going to go over to talk to her." And the other said, "No, I want to go over and talk to her." Well, we both can't do it, and we're bros, so we need to work this out. And so the engineer, being the fair guy that engineers are, said, "Well, let's flip a coin." And the math major, and I think he's cute, trying to feel cute there, says, "I don't like that. There's only 50-50 odds. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will propose that we go half the distance to the cute redhead, and then the next step will be half that distance. So if we're going like 8 feet, then we'll go 4 feet more, which will be 12, and each time we'll just keep cutting the interval down. 8, 4, 2, 1, and at that rate, neither one of us will get there. But because I'm pure science, every girl knows they like a big brain, so I'll get close enough, she'll see me, and she'll be naturally attached to me because I'm pure science." Now, the engineer says, "Oh, okay, well, whatever you want to do." So as they're walking across the store, approaching the redhead, they all get so close, and then the engineer gets within arm distance. He reaches out, grabs her by the hand, says, "Baby, you want to dance?" And they go dance. And the moral of the story is, you don't have to be exact, just close enough. I get the question sometimes, are subsonics inaccurate? And unfortunately, that's not really a fair question to ask, because quite honestly, it depends on what your expectations are. It's like asking, is a fast magnum accurate more so than a cowboy gun? And the questions then are answered when we look at the characteristics of it. First of all, I think we need to look at some realities, and I'll probably do some rounding in this and some jumping back and forth and some stuff that won't necessarily line up perfectly with the screens, but we'll see what we have. When we look at what 10 mile an hour to 14.7 feet per second, normally on a ballistics calculator like the ones I've used previously, is always a perpendicular wind, and they do that because we're interested in the bullet drift according to the wind that's pushing on, that's acting on that bullet after it has left the gun. If I have wind at 10 miles an hour, it can be at some other angle other than perpendicular to it. We get them from behind and we get them from the forward to it. So it's like an airplane. If you have a headwind or you have a tailwind, it can affect the airplane's velocity. So if I look at it using just country boy logic, and I say I got 15 feet per second if it's adding, or 15 feet per second if it's subtracting, that's 30 feet per second. And if I have, like on this Win Mag, not this Win Mag, this Weatherby Mag, this 270 Weatherby Mag, it's 3,400. Now if we want to round our numbers, because 1050 is not 11, and we see that 3,400 is not a real comfortable. Now we can work it, but if we have 30 feet per second variation due to the wind being either behind or in front of it on a 3,300 feet per second bullet, that works out to less than 1%. So it's not, you get more than 1% charge to charge with the batches of the powder, that kind of thing. Now if we look at what that effect is at, say, 1050, approximately 1/3 of that, 30 feet per second, either going forward or backward, either way, is going to be a 2.86% variation. So even then, it's not a huge amount, but it is an amount that, as you can see, less than 1%, we can throw that away with great confidence. And when you get around 3%, it becomes a little bit questionable. Do we need to consider that or not? Because I'm sure it's just one more brick in the wall, it'll add to it. Now, if we look at what the 6.8, the 277 diameter bullet out of a 6.8 subsonic, it would be the same out of 270, because it's the same bullet going 1050. It doesn't care what cartridge pushed it. It decreases from 1050 to 937 at 200 yards, and that same 30 feet per second variation then becomes 3.2%. So you're starting to add up to it. Now if you add that 3.2% with maybe some 5% for the powder or for the temperature or the environmental conditions, you start to get a difference in, let me grab my prop here. This is my little bullet simulator. This I would say would be on either the gas checked end or the boat tail end, and we have some nice little ridges that we ride in here in a cannula to remove the pressure, and we have the bullet shape in the front. Well, what I'm saying is, if the bullet's going this way, if you add velocity for any reason, it's going to hit a little higher. If you take velocity away for any reason, it's going to hit a little bit lower. So that's going to give you some variation through all of your causes up and down. Now we also know that we're moving at a certain speed, so if we're going at 1050, let's make it 1100. If you go to 1100 and you've got it comparing it to the same 277 diameter bullet going 3300, guess what it's going to do? It's got 3 times the amount of time in the air for the air to drift it at 1100 that it would have at 3300. 1/3. That's how that works. Now, so that's going to give you a little bit bigger aspect like that. Now there's one other thing that we talked about or alluded to in the various videos is the twist rate. What does the twist rate do? Well, that's a little tongue twister. What does the twist rate do for the bullet stability? And we know that stability is not some sort of magic little switch that some say at 1050 it's unstable, and at 1051 it's perfect and magic. Okay, let's do a demo. Okay, I've cleared a little space here for our highly technical models. This may look like a softball, but what it is, it's a model for the old ball type ammunition back in the old late 18s and early 19. Now, watch how easily it spins. Yep, it's crawling on me because I get a little friction. But even slow, it spins, and it's fairly stable, and it maintains that. Let's pretend this is a bullet because I got a little pointy spot here. I might be able to get this to spin at a very high rate for just a flash second, but it's falling over, I'll guarantee it. That last one about did it. You see how it spun a little bit, but it wasn't going to stay up. Because the longer something is, and the narrower it is, the faster you got to spin it in order for it to have stability, because you don't have that big flywheel effect. You don't have the gyroscope. Here you have something that's relatively short and squatty, and it's round at the same time. And it really doesn't matter what direction it would go through the barrel. You might have a little sprue flat spot where they cut it out of the mold, but basically round is round, and it spins like a top. So you get some of that effect when you have subsonic bullets, because mostly they're going to be longer for the caliber, and they're going to be heavy, and you know, you're limited by the 1050, you're limited by your speed, so you can't push them through a barrel any faster to get more RPMs out of it.